Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Page. I am your most humble and obedient servant, Page Ghost. Today I have what might be a bit of a hot take. And I'm not necessarily trying to convince you per se that I'm right or that you shouldn't enjoy the show or, whatever the case. It's more so things that I feel like people don't talk about whenever they talk about this show. And this is sort of just an opportunity for everyone to talk about this. Maybe they'll notice it after I bring it up, whatever the case. More specifically, the show in question is The Pitt. And I'll start things off by saying it's a great show. It has a very interesting premise. It has a very interesting structure. It has great characters, and it's very, very engaging. All the awards that it's getting are absolutely earned, and so I'm not trying to question its quality or anything like that. And I think it's worth mentioning some of those high points that it does have. The characters are incredibly fun to watch, very fascinating, and all the characters sort of fulfill their roles, so to speak. One thing I really don't like is when people talk about a character that they hate and act like it's a criticism when you're supposed to hate that character. Like, clearly you're supposed to hate this character. And this show has one of those characters in it, and they do a phenomenal job with that. And it's not even just a clear cut like you're just supposed to hate this character and that's it. It's a little more nuanced than that, and that's sort of another really strong piece of this show is how interesting these characters are, and even the characters that you don't like. There's sort of some nuance to it. It's not just clear cut or anything like that. So that's really interesting. Talking about the structure, and this is probably something that most people know about by now. An entire season is one shift at an emergency room. The Pittsburgh emergency room, I think, is what it is, but then they say for short the Pitt. I really that's a very fascinating structure because I can't begin to imagine like the amount of stress that nurses and doctors have to deal with on that kind of level, just in general, and then to add on top of it the emergency room aspect of it. The show already points this out, but it's always worth mentioning. First responders, nurses, police officers, firemen, none of them get paid enough because of everything that they have to deal with and go through, the amount of stress, everything that they have to manage. It's yeah, they do not get paid enough. They do not get paid enough, and it cannot be understated. And the show does a really good job of illustrating that through its structure, because every episode is essentially 1 hour on the same shift, and then the entire season is that one. I forget what it is. It's like a 10-hour shift, I think. I could be mistaken on that. And so it's yeah, it does a really good job of illustrating how much stress there is, because just one episode is 1 hour for the life, the work, so to speak, of a nurse. So very well illustrated, fantastic structure for that, and just the amount of different cases that they have to deal with is another just great example of illustrating exactly what nurses have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. They have to go from one problem to the next and not carry anything over from that previous problem, and address this newer problem in a new way, objectively, to not try and make connections between them, to not transfer anything over, but to remain objective and look at everything from a new perspective every time. Again, it cannot be understated what nurses go through and what they have to deal with, and I think the show does a really good job of illustrating that. People have talked ad nauseum about how great all of that is illustrated. Even other doctors and nurses have gone on social media and talked about how realistically, so to speak, this show illustrates all of that. I'm not trying to take any of that away. But if I were a patient, I would not want to go to this emergency room. Please, for the love of God, if I'm ever in Pittsburgh, and this were the exact emergency room I would be sent to, I would say, send me to another emergency room. Because, oh my gosh, between the professionalism and the medical stuff and everything like that, these people are making all kinds of problematically ethically problematic decisions, like constantly throughout this show. I can't believe, I'm sure someone has at this point, but I have not found anyone talking about the ethical issues within this show. As doctors, they are just constantly breaking all the rules. Constantly preaching to their patients as if they have any kind of place telling their patients what they should be or shouldn't be doing with their lives. Holy cow. Please, I do not want to ever go to a hospital like this, to an emergency room like this. Take me to Dr. House any day. Take me to Scrubs any day. Although, to be fair, I haven't watched Scrubs, so maybe Scrubs has a similar ethical problems. But take me to Dr. House any day. At least he's just going to solve the problem, call me stupid, and then leave it at that. I'm not going to get some sermon about someone else's lived experience whenever I have my own problems going on. Or like, they literally change the age of an unborn child just that way they can go forward with a procedure. Like, what? I'm sorry, if any doctor or nurse is just moving dates around willy-nilly just that way they can do whatever they want or whatever a patient wants, holy cow, do not send me to this place, because I don't know what they're going to do to me. Another great example is there's this episode where there's allegedly a father is, how do I put it? Allegedly a father is being inappropriate with his daughter. Allegedly, all right? It's purely based on the word of the wife. And so her response is to drug her husband, right? And so that gets him sent to the emergency room. Like, she clearly did not think through her decisions. Why didn't she just get her and her daughter out of the house? Why didn't she call the cops? Why instead did she think to drug her husband? So there's that issue. And then one of the nurses who started work that day decides, you know what? I'm going to threaten to kill this patient purely based on the accusations of the wife. And that's it. Like, no investigation. Oh my gosh, please do not send me to this place, because I don't know what they're going to do to me. I don't know if they're going to threaten me or not, because they get some word from someone and it just doesn't sound good and they're just going to do whatever they want with me. Holy cow. Another great example is towards the end of the show, someone dies, and this person who dies is in a relationship with someone who's close with the employees of the emergency room, and they completely break all ethical protocols and let him go in and see his dead girlfriend. Like, not at all respecting, like, the fact that the family should see her first, right? Because these two aren't married or anything. They're basically teenagers, maybe they're young adults, and they completely break ethical protocol just because this guy is all distraught. It's like, I want to see her, I want to see her, I want to see her. And they completely break protocol. He starts freaking out whenever he sees his dead girlfriend, starts blaming the doctors and nurses, when apparently he's been in this world for a while. Oh my gosh, wow. There's just... Whew, okay. Like I said, hot take and... Oh man, yeah. Just bottom line, don't go to the Pit. Don't go to Pittsburgh emergency room because they're gonna twist and bend and, quite frankly, break the rules just so they can just do whatever they want. And they're gonna talk to you almost however they want, depending on whatever your situation is. There is sometimes a certain level of professionalism, and then also they're just going to talk to you however they like. Yeah, don't ever go to the Pit as a patient. Don't go there as because of the emergency room. If there's another one even 2 hours away, just deal with the pain of it and don't go to this place, because oh my gosh, there's no telling what they're gonna do when it comes to your care. Anyways, that's my hot take. And my hot take, again, is not to talk about the quality of the show itself. The characters are interesting. It's well structured. It's an interesting structure. I can't, like, the awards that it's gotten are absolutely earned. But you do not want to go to this hospital. You do not want to go to this emergency room. They take whatever ethical rules there are, they take whatever protocols they have, and they just do whatever they want. And I do not want nurses, I do not want doctors that just do whatever they want. As always, I am your most humble and obedient servant, Page Ghost.